people for over 20 years now. And I do teach cooking lessons, and I also teach how to heal using certain type of food that affect the body in different ways. So I do health and nutritional counseling, I do energy work, aura cleansing, acupressure, and shiatsu massage. And I also do distant healings. I also am very good and specialized in strengthening the health of people with gluten intolerance and celiac disease, and more debilitating illnesses connected to the immune system, like Lyme disease, MS, lymphoma. And I know how to change the health of related condition using natural ways, because I know that there is ways of healing that there can be used naturally, that it prevents us from getting sick. It was not easy for me to heal myself. I was stung by a wasp over 20 years ago, and I had an anaphylactic shock, and I almost died. I had a near-death experience at the time, and within a month after I realized I had epilepsy. I was at the gym, and I found myself on a stretcher, and they took me to the hospital. In the hospital, they told me that I had epilepsy, and I was going to be taking medicine for the rest of my life because there is no way to heal it. And I did take medicine for about 3 years. Then after 3 years, I realized that the side effects of the medicine, they were going to kill me before the medicine was so tremendous that it was starting to destroy the rest of me. I couldn't see right. I had stomach problems. My gums were starting to bleed because the medicine, one of the side effects was gum disease. So at that point, I decided that probably I was going to be just as dead from the medicine before the epilepsy was going to kill me. So I decided to get rid of the medicine, and I started to get into microbiotic, which is a philosophy from Japan. It's an over 2,000 years type of philosophy, which it was from the study of the Zen Buddhists of the high plain in Japan, that they discovered that certain foods has certain effects on the body. And that's what I started to learn and apply on my body. And I discovered after about a month that every time I ate a dish of wheat pasta, the next day I would have a seizure. So it didn't take me long to connect the fact that I was gluten intolerant. And at that point, I started to stay away from gluten, which is a very difficult thing to do. But I preferred to be strong and to get rid of that and get rid of the seizures. And I was able to finally get rid of the seizures. And I've been free from seizures for more than 20 years now. So that's my background. Before the bee stung me, I was an artist, and I studied architecture, and I was, when I came to America, because I'm from Italy, when I came from in America, I was working as an architectural designer in the Philadelphia area. But after I started with the microbiotic diet, I stopped working in the corporate places, and I just direct all my strength and energy to heal myself. And I did it with a lot of discipline, because that's what you need when you start to take care of yourself. You need to be a disciplined person. And over the years, I have helped many people with all kinds of illnesses, from very debilitating and illnesses like cancer to to lymphoma, to diabetes, to I can't remember all of them. It's been a long time, but I do help people with also with epilepsy, of course. And I have a website that is rosanna.com, which has a lot of videos and has a lot of information to learn how to take care of yourself. And plus I do consultations online, and I have people that gives me wants consultation from all over the world. What I want to talk about it today is basically there is two ways of healing that they're very important. One is that when a person is out of balance, the healness starts in the aura of the person, is this ethereal body that we have outside of our physical body that most people don't see. There is some people that they can see the aura and they can see all the colors of the aura, but we do have a body. I made here a little drawing that extends several feet and outside of our physical body. And it has layers, and each layer is a different color. And those colors change with the mood of the person, with the type of, what the person is doing at the moment. So it's a very changeable type of colors that we have around us. And also there is 7 to 11 major energy centers, which are all along the spinal column. And these energy centers spin and they bring out the energy during the day, so we have energy to work and do our things. During the night when we sleep, these centers spin in the opposite direction and they bring in the energy that we have expressed out during the day. So that's why it's important for us to have a good night of sleep, because if we don't sleep good and we get up in the morning and we don't have strength whatsoever, it's because we haven't had the opportunity to get all this energy inside back in it's like you rewind the clock inside, the inside clock, so then you have this energy to spend outside. So the healnesses start in the aura. They start in the energy centers. And then if we don't heal and we don't try to make ourselves stronger so that we can heal from that, then we end up having a problem, because as time goes by, the illness gets materialized in the physical body. So there is ways now to understand this. Well, if you go to the doctor is going to say this is crazy stuff. It doesn't, it's not possible, because they never even study this part of the body, because they only study the physical, what they could see and touch. And they look at the microscope and they go look at the cells and they look at these tests that they're given to you. But the energy, it's more than what we see with our naked eyes that in a person. And this energy, it's where it gets sick first. So if we heal the aura and the energy centers, then we never get sick in a physical body. So that is a thing that usually people don't know about. The other thing that a person can do is, go to somebody like me, that it will help to clean and to realign the energy body before the person gets sick. Or to start, can change the diet, because diet is also very important. Why? Because even the food have energy, and each food that you eat has that type of vibration that it will make you better or worse, depending on what kind of food it is, and depending on what kind of of energy that type of food has, if it will make you stronger or not, depending on the type of problem that you have. So you have to understand that the universe it was created with, it's got two forces. It has the centrifugal force, which is a force that goes towards the center, and a centripetal force that it goes out. These two forces united makes everything in the universe. Now, the foods that we eat have the same thing. They can be contracting, having more of the centrifugal force, or expanding. Now, if you have a problem that it's an illness that is like your body is too expanded, your cells are too expanded, then you want to eat more things that will contract the body so it will bring you back to the balance that you need. Or if it is the opposite, then you need something that it will expand your body if you're too contracted. Like, let's say, if you eat too much meat, too much eggs, too much heavy animal food, your body gets too contracted. So then you have to eliminate some of those and put some fruit and vegetables that it will make some of the body more open, more less contracted. So that's how to make these two forces needs to be balanced within ourselves too. So it's not only that we have two forces in the universe and that that creates everything, but it's even in the things that we do and we eat during the day, that it will make us balance that way between what the Oriental called the yin and yang force. But in English, we don't have a specific name to call the yin and the yang, but it's also, we generalize it saying it's the expanding and the contracting force. So also activities that we do will make us more contracted and more expanded. So even the work that we do, if we do things that repeating the same things over and over and over again, like people that does have a job that is like a piecework or a machine that it makes always the same type of thing, then at a certain point the body can't take it anymore and you're going to get sick because you're repeating the same movement, the same things all the time. So that's why a lot of people that work for 20, 30 years, all of a sudden they say the body just collapses and can't take it anymore, because it's too much of the same thing. We need variety, just like we need variety in food, we need variety in the movements that we do. It's why they say that to do some exercise and stretching is good, because we use different muscles that we would be using while we're working at a certain job that is always the same. So when a person is out of balance, we become sick. And the illness does starts from the aura. That's where it begins. You want to come in? Come in. Don't be afraid.
I didn't want to interrupt
Don't be afraid to come
Oh, I
in.
didn't want to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm just going to try and get a couple candid shots while you're...
Okay. All right. So at this, the person at this point, the person has to understand, because you see, you're going to feel if you're not feeling good. Okay, so most people tell me, I have to go to the doctor to be checked out. I got to find out if I'm okay. It's not the doctor that's got to tell you if you're okay or not. You know if you're not okay or if you're okay. But you also know that you're not okay even when it begins, the illness, when it's in the aura, because you start to feel something is not exactly right. And if you go to the doctor at that point, the doctor is going to say, you're perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong. I remember when my son was small, he had ear infections all the time. And we would go to the doctor, and the doctor would give him for 10 days antibiotics. And then in 15, 20 days after the antibiotics, he was getting another ear infection. And we went like that for the whole winter. And in the end, I said, I know when this boy is getting the infection. Before, at the first sign, I would go to the doctor, and I would take him and I say, look, he's getting ready to get an infection. And the doctor was saying, well, look into the ears, and he's fine, he's perfectly fine. 2 days later, my son was screaming with ear infections. It's like, and there was no way to stop it because the doctor wouldn't hear me before. So this is not what doctors are used to is not to prevent an illness. It's just to look for the illness. So it's not a healthy way of seeing illnesses here. We want to prevent it when it's at the beginning, or even stop it from coming in. But the system that we're living in, it's one of those systems that only looks at the problem after the problem is heavy duty in. So that is another thing that it is not working for us in this way of seeing things. The other thing is, the number one thing that people complain about when they go to the doctor is fatigue. Most people that I see and I talk to, they say, I am always tired, I don't have enough energy, and it's not the truth that they don't have energy. It's the way they spend their energy that it makes them weak, or that makes them fatigued. It's like, it's important to know that, like, let's say we have so much energy to spend in one day. Let's say that just think of yourself like an investment banker. You have about $300 worth of energy in the morning, $300, okay? $300 a day to spend in energy. Now, either you're going to invest this money, energy money, in positive circumstances, positive relationship, positive thoughts, and that stuff will give you good returns back, or you're going to make investments that they're not going to give you good returns. So you're going to start to build a debt. And it gets to the point that that energy that you're spending, it's going to become too much. So the debt is going to be too much, so you're going to go and get a loan. Now, where are you going to get the loan? An energy loan. The energy loan, you're going to get it first from your cells and from your physical body and from your bones. So, and then you're going to get it also from other people, because, we're all energy. We have all this energy field around us. So when we get close to other people, we interact with the energy of the other person before we even touch the person. Our energy and their energy is touching. So we're going to start to sap the energy of the other person, even unconsciously. I'm not saying that most people do it consciously. They don't even know that they have an aura. So, that's the thing. So we're getting it most of the time from the people that are willing to listen to our own problems. Okay, so why, when we talk to somebody that they're very nice to us and they understand what we're talking about and they agreeing with us, we feel better. Why? Because we sapped their energy. Okay, and we don't realize this. We have no clue about that. So when this happens, it's like we're like parasites, some kind of parasite that is sapping the energy of the other person. So this is not a good idea. So what do we have to do at this point? In order to get to this point, we have to learn how to use the energy that we have for that day and use it in positive ways. Use it in using to be together with people that we agree with, that we are more peaceful things, not getting into arguments. And if you have some friends that are like toxic for you, just get rid of them. Stay away from the stuff that saps your energy, because that is what it makes people sick. It's the emotional factor that it gets involved into these type of friendships. So, because if you don't do that, and you continue with this trend of friends and relatives or whatever it is that it saps your energy, then you're going to end up to get sick in a physical body. Eventually, the physical body, it's where when it really hits you, it hits you hard. So all illnesses begin from the aura, and it's only after you continue in the same direction that's when you get sick in the physical body. So that's the two ways that a person gets sick. One is from eating the bad foods that it has the bad energy, or being with the uncomfortable people that saps your energy, or that's the two main things. So I have here some of the things that shows you that we have energy in our body. Look at this. This is just from our hand. Okay, so there is energy. And the beautiful thing about the hand is that, remember the energy centers that I talked about into our body? Well, we have two major chakras here and here in the center of our hands, which are connected to the pericardium, which is the lining of the heart. When we get hurt, we fall, we hurt our knee, or if we hurt something, what do? We go with our strong hands to it. If we don't kill ourselves and need to go to the hospital, but I'm talking about like if you fall and then you touch it, within minutes the pain goes away. Why? Because that energy has healed the pain, is gone. Okay, so this is the first two energy centers that we have. The more powerful our hands are, the more there is energy here. And you can also make a ball of energy just by doing this. And you can feel it. At a certain point, there is like a reaction that you make an energy ball in there. And you can feel it if you play with your hands. At a certain point, you get some kind of resilience there. So that's one thing. The energy body that has all different colors. We are the children of light. So light is in our DNA. So we are the children of light. So we are light beings, and we are very powerful. But nobody had ever told us that. We have been put down too much. So this is a scan that shows you the fingertips of a person before and after pranic healing. Pranic healing, it's, as you see there, it's a powerful and effective non-touch method of energy healing that is based on an ancient science art, which is it transfer life force to the patient. So here it shows the energy field of a person before, when it feels not good, and to after has had a pranic healings assessment. Heal. There is also, I want to show you the chakras. Now, the chakras are these kind of things energy that it comes out from our body. The major chakras are the basic chakra, the sex chakra, the solar plexus, the belly chakra, there is the heart chakra, there is the throat chakra, there is the third eye chakra, there is our mind chakra, and then there is the crown chakra. Each chakra, energy center, deals with a different part of our body and so the first chakra, the basic chakra, deals with survival and is blocked by fear. So when you're fearful, you're going to be not feeling happy, not only because you're afraid for your survival most of the time.
I have a rating. I have
Okay,
to,
go ahead.
Sorry. I
Okay.
hate to interrupt you, but
You can go.
I'm sorry.
So, all this stuff on the news that is always negative, what does it do? It works on your fear points, and everybody gets scared, and everybody panics, and that's not a good thing to do. If you want to be happy and you have to feel like you're here to stay in a happy way, you got to get rid of the fear. So then the sex chakra, it deals with pleasure, and it's blocked by guilt. The solar plexus chakra deals with willpower. It's our will, it's our personality, it's how we project ourselves, and it's blocked by shame. And so those things that makes us shameful, we got to eliminate them so that we can get our willpower strong enough to deal with whatever we have to deal through the day. Then the heart chakra deals with love and is blocked by grief. Then the throat chakra deals with the truth and is blocked by lies. So don't lie. Then the Ajna chakra, which is the third eye chakra, it deals with insights and it's blocked by illusions. So if we want to have things in our life, we got to think about it with our third, with our mind's eye, which is connected to the pituitary gland, and it makes us see what we want to achieve in life, and then it's through that idea and through that vision, that inner vision that we have, that we can manifest things in life. But it's by thinking about it and wanting them that we can manifest them. And then the crown chakra, it's cosmic energy, deals with pure cosmic energy. It's what attaches us to the divine, to where we come from, and it's blocked by earthly attachments, because of course when we're too much attached to earthly things, it's when we end up being blocked with the divine and what it takes us up there. The other thing that I wanted to show you is this. We are nature. Look at that. This is the blood vessels in the center, okay? This is the close-up of a leaf. And this one is the river network of the Amana River, I don't know where, but anyway, it's the map. It's a map of rivers. Look how close. So we are nature. We cannot be completely outside of nature. We have to be connected to nature. And that's why I say that by eating the things that are growing around the area where we live makes us healthy. While if we're eating things that they're growing in the tropics, that cannot make us healthy because we don't live in the tropics. We live in a climate that it's not that hot. So we have to eat according to the weather, to the change of the seasons, and to the temperature. And to eat those things that grows during the time that we're living in that particular place. So that connects us with nature. That connects us with the outside world, that we're one with all of it. So that is very, very important to know that there is this connection between us and nature, that we have completely forgot about it. You know, modern people believe that they can destroy the earth, they can poison it, they can put all the chemicals they want to the food, and then we're all going to be fine. But we're not fine. We're getting more and more sick. There is more and more illnesses coming up every day, and there is too much going on that it's because we have lost this connection with nature, that it's very, very important. Without Mother Earth, we're nothing. We don't exist. That's our mother. We got to take care of it, and we got to stop, especially these chemical companies like Monsanto that is poisoning the earth. It's poisoning the foods that is growing, and it's nobody is doing anything. And these people, they don't even want to put the fact that they're putting GMO food on the shelves, and they don't even want to put a label on it, let alone stopping killing everything. Half of the bees on earth are gone because all the weed killers that they're using in nature, outdoors now. There is half of the monarch butterflies showing up now because all these weed killers are killing the milky weeds that the butterflies they're eating. The larvae of the butterflies are using are eating those weeds, and they're gone. They're not anymore around. There is people that use weed killers and on their lawn, which I don't understand why it's so much at this point that it's not right. So what I'm saying is, like, we're connected to nature. If we're going to kill nature, we're going to kill ourselves. It's that connection. It's too great, and we cannot sever it without destroying the human body and humanity at large. What do you prefer to eat, this or this? It's like, this is chemicals. This is not food. This cannot go on forever. People that they're taking so much medication, they don't even know while all those medications mixed together what they're doing. They're making a deadly cocktail in their body.
Couldn't that be supplements also? Did you put that in there?
I don't, because for one reason. There is some companies that they're making good supplements, that they're from natural stuff, okay?
Right.
But there are other companies that they're making supplements that they're full of fillers, full of all kinds of stuff, toxins and chemicals. So that's not a good thing. So you're paying more for the better supplements. But there is a point where if you're eating foods that have no more energy, because most of the foods that our land has lost the energy to give to the plants. So even if you're eating vegetables in these days, you don't know how much energy is in these vegetables. You're eating organic vegetables, then maybe you got your enough of the supplements that you need to be healthy. But if you don't, then you should add some of the supplements to your body. And plus, I've discovered lately that most people that they have depression, especially in America, in this area, that has caused a lot of it during the winter by and not enough vitamin D. I mean, plus, even if you in the summertime there is plenty of sun, because we get the vitamin D from our sunlight, okay? But if you're working in a cubicle the whole summer and you're not getting sun, and you're dressed every time you're passing by, taking the bus or going into the car, you don't get enough exposure to the sun to get enough vitamin D in your body. So that's why there is so many people with depression in these days. I've discovered this with my daughter, one of my daughters. I have two daughters and a son. And I discovered that she was depressed. Now, before, when she was a little kid, we went to the beach, we went in the sun, they were playing in the backyard with plenty of sun, so they had enough exposure to the sun. But then she got big enough and she became very interested in work and having a career, and so she was working in New York, and she didn't get too much. 2 weeks of vacation doesn't give you a lot of sun exposure, even if you go to the Hawaii, for 2 weeks, it's not enough vitamin D for your body created in 2 weeks. So that's what happened to her. And when I discovered that she was depressed, I said, you need enough vitamin, you don't have enough vitamin D. She resisted that until one day I went there for her birthday and I brought her a bottle of liquid vitamin D, and I said, take this, please. And within a week she called me and she says, you were right. She says, I woke up this morning and I feel like a different person.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain things that, if we're living this type of life, that it's not, it doesn't give you enough hours to play and to be in the sun, or in the wintertime we have so many snow days and so much bad weather that we can't get enough vitamin D, then you need vitamin D if you want to be a happy person. Because that's the way I realize it also on myself, that in the wintertime I was always they call it the winter blues, but the winter blues is because you got not enough vitamin D. So now I take vitamin D with K2, which is good for the bones. So that was another thing that, I had one thing that
You said with K2?
Yeah, K2. K2 is a vitamin that it's made, I know in Japanese food it's called natto. It's a fermented soybean that some people like me, I love it, the taste of it, and some people can't stand it. Some people say it reminds the taste of coffee. I don't believe so, and that's the only foods that really has K2 in it. But it does strengthens, because it does something to the bones. It strengthens the bone system. So especially for women after menopause, that is a good thing to have. So Thorne manufacturers, not because I say that Thorne manufacturer is the perfect place to get it, but I feel like that the vitamins made by Thorne, they're
Thorne?
Thorne. I use it myself. I had a friend that told me that they're making better vitamins. They use it, and that's why they cost a little bit more. So that is another important thing to do, is to have some vitamins if they're needed in the body.
Rosanna, I remember, just to give everyone like a heads up, I remember you told me this before,
What?
that it's more important, that it's better, it gets into your body faster, your body absorbs it better if it's liquid other than pills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's-
Just so everyone, like,
So this is a liquid?
This is a liquid.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like one drop, 1,000 milligrams per drop. And I also heard that if you mix it with orange essential oil, sweet orange essential oil, it does a chemical reaction that it makes you absorb it better also. So, what am I talking about now? Oh, I did write a book, and this is my book. It's Healing Epilepsy Naturally. Now, this book is not only the story of myself, of how I healed myself, but it's also all the stuff that I learned while I was healing and what I had to do, because it was not only just food and the fact that I eliminated the gluten out of my life that it got me better. It's also was the way I started to think and push my mind to think better, to think in a more positive way, because when a person is positive, there is always two ways of looking at one thing, and so when a person is more positive, it has a much a lighter heart about things, and that helps to keep the mind and the body going better. I discovered also that there is a part in the brain that is called the amygdala, which is the ancient brain. It's that brain that we had from eons ago. It's the brain that kept us alive while there was tigers and lions eating people in those days, in the jungle. So it's that part of the brain that it keeps up and awake for every little problem that there is. So that is the part of the brain that we don't really need it as much anymore, but it always looks at the worst that could happen. So in order to learn how to make that amygdala it calm down, because that it gives us the fight and flight effect, and the fight and flight effect, it's stressful for the body, because we're always seeing something bad is going to happen. Oh, it's like, oh my God, there is danger there, even when there is no danger. But the fight and flight effect, what it does, it makes all the cortisol and all those acids, and hormones that they're not supposed to be that high, just come up, and it doesn't release them until hours and hours later. That's what it gives us inflammation. So that is another thing that it needs to be calmed down. And the way to calm that down is through meditation. By doing meditation, it does help us to calm down the amygdala. So the important thing to do while we're trying to think is this. The way I understand it is the emotions should rise from the heart. So if we start to think with the heart, it's better. Rise from the heart, gets to the brain processes it and then does it. So if we calm down the amygdala and calm down the processes of the brain in our mind, and we go more and use the heart, which has 40, I don't know if it's 40,000 or 40 million cells, brain cells. So our heart has brain cells, okay? That's a fact. But so even in ancient history, they used to say, think with your heart. That's the reason why. Is by thinking with the heart, we tend to be more calm, bringing better emotions to the brain, so that the brain calms down and we don't have this fight and flight effect as much. Because that is what it really, ruins us, because besides the economy going downhill, not enough money, there is always somebody killing somebody in the street for no reason, there is always something going on here. And the television doesn't help, because they all tend to scare the heck out of us. So when we are afraid, then we use a lot of that fight and flight effect. And that's why we're always having inflammation in our body, and there is so many people with all kinds of problems in arthritis and inflammation problems. So that is another thing that I learned, which I haven't added to this book, but I did add to this book all the things about the chakras and all the things about how to use the third eye and your ideas of what you want to achieve in your life starts from the third eye. And so it's like a theater in your mind that you have, that you can make ideas, make visions in your own head, and then try to materialize it in a positive. And if you keep it positive and you keep believing in it, then you are able to achieve them and to bring them to become for you. The other things that is in this book, there is also how to use food. there is a certain part of the book where there is a chapter that it talks all about food and the effect of food on the body. It's all the different cooking systems and what to use in different times of the year also, and what is the effect on the body depending on what kind of foods that the way you cook it and how you cook it and when you cook it. If it is during the summer or during the winter, if you're trying to cool your body or you're trying to warm your body, that's another way of doing it. Of course, it's all vegetarian and there is no meat here. I don't eat too much meat. I eat very little meat, only when I'm very, very cold in the winter. That's when I eat a little bit of lamb. That's the only meat I eat. And it's very rare also. But the rest of it, it's all very important. And there is also another part that is the last chapter, which talks about gluten. Gluten is the most difficult food, if we want to call it food, because it's not even food. You know, gluten. What is glue? It's glue. Okay? So the reason why a lot of people now are having gluten intolerance or celiac disease is because the wheat that we're eating today, the wheat, the barley, the oats, 200, 300, 500, 2,000 years ago did not have the amount of gluten that it has today because of the pollinations that they have been doing and the engineering that they have been doing and all this stuff that they're growing by gigantic fields. It's not just mom and pop farmers that used to have a little thing and they used to do a certain spot just for their wheat. It's like incredible gigantic culture made just with all machine, no hands touch this food, but it also is the way it's pollinated. What I understand is this, that during the time of the Vikings in Europe, okay, the bread was very crumbly because it didn't have enough gluten in it, okay? So the Vikings were going on the water and they were going for a long time into these long trips and they wanted a bread that stayed together more because if not, the bread used to get crumbled up too fast. So they started to pollinate it with some of the grasses that had gluten, which were not grasses to eat, okay? But it had the gluten that made the bread fluffy and made it like chewing gum while it was rising. But 2,000 years ago, people didn't have too much gluten intolerance. Why do we have it? Because it has grown 400%. The gluten amount that it's in this food. Not only that, but like oats didn't bother me before. 20 years ago, oats I could eat. Even up to 3-4 years ago, I could eat it. But now, because of all these big, gigantic lands that they make wheat here, oats here, that there, they pollinate through each other. So the oats start to have a lot of gluten too. Okay? So, and so is the barley, so is corn. I just discovered corn that has 20% gluten in it, which I didn't know before. I used to eat polenta up to a few years ago. I was fine.
Now it's genetically engineered.
Now it's
Unless you
genetically
buy
engineered, but
organic.
even if the organic that I buy, I can't eat anymore. That's out of the question too. So it's like getting less and less and less the stuff, the grain that I can eat. But I discovered online that Dr. Mark Hyman, he had a video that it was very interesting, and it made me understand stuff because they discovered what they did. They did a study on. They observed about 30,000 patients the blood from 30,000 patients from 1969 to 2008, and their state of intolerance to gluten. Okay, so during this study, these people were divided in 3 groups, In the first group, there were those with high gluten allergies. In the second group, there was those with inflammation of the intestine. And on the third group, people with very strong allergic reactions. So the results of they were dramatic because there is an increased change of trends of premature death by 39% in the individual that had high intolerance to gluten. Then among those on the second group, the probability of the intolerance rise to 72% of premature death. So instead of going down, because the people with high intolerance suffer less than the people with meds intolerance, you know what I mean? So then there is the third group, the one, you know, with less inflammation, that is, wait a minute, I'm marrying it strongly messed up here. But okay, so the third group were those people with inflammation in the intestine, but not a strong allergy, and that was 35% chance of premature death. But the thing that we don't understand is this: they had another research that they took samples of 50 years ago. Samples of blood, of 10,000 blood samples of today, and showed that gluten intolerance has increased among population 400% over the last 50 years. That means most people on earth are gluten intolerant because it's connected to all these diseases. Because what gluten does, it makes your immune system weak. So you're not resisting the illnesses as you used to before you got this problem. And they connected many different illnesses with different names to this. Because when your immune system is weak, you get sick at your weakest link. So the weakest part of your body will have a problem. So when you go to the doctor and the doctor finds that you have heart disease, he's going to try to fix your heart disease with some kind of medicine, but he's not taking away the cause, which is gluten intolerance. Okay? So here it is. There is all the sickness that you can get from gluten intolerance. It's osteoporosis, arthritis, irritable bowel, rheumatoid, lupus, multiple sclerosis, inflammatory bowel disease, anemia, cancer, and fatigue. And that's not enough. Wait, there is more. Then there is psychiatric problems and neurological diseases like anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, dementia, migraine, epilepsy, neuropathy, nerve damage, and autism. They're all connected to gluten intolerance. So they
Did you
have
say Alzheimer's?
yeah. You see, and plus I discovered another thing, that gluten, it's almost like a drug. Why? Because they discovered recently in the last study that they have been doing on the brain, that when you eat gluten, goes straight into your bloodstream, goes to the brain, and it lights up those parts in the brain that get light up when you are on cocaine or morphine or heavy drugs. So that's why when somebody is hooked on pizza, it wants pizza, and it wants more pizza. The more sick you get, the more pizza you want, because it's a drug. It acts like a drug, even if it doesn't give you that high, but it puts out some of these hormones that they make you feel good.
And that's why people are so obese.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, in my case, I was the opposite. I could never put a pound on. You know, it was the opposite thing. But I know I had gluten intolerance since I was a little child. Because now, looking back, I even see my father was gluten intolerant in another way. He always had colds. He always had a lot of mucus. And that was all from the pasta and the bread that he was eating, because that's making a lot of mucus. While in my case, it got to my brain. It's like, it's like, so that's the thing. Food can do some very tricky things to people, and it's the most difficult thing to change, because you talk to people, even I talk to people that they're sick and say, oh, I eat so good, you have no idea. I go and I buy all organic food, and I say, yeah, but how you cook them? What do you do with it? How, what time of the year you eat this? How many times a
gluten
week
is
you
hidden in a lot of stuff.
Gluten is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and it has different names.
Yes.
It's not. It doesn't say on the package that it's got gluten. Sometimes it's got a name that has got nothing to do with gluten, and it's like,
Yeah.
how the heck they come up?
It's in all the sauces, prepared foods.
Yes, everywhere,
Soy sauces.
everywhere. And so if you're eating different type of things and each one has got gluten in it, even if you try not to eat the wheat and the barley
breads,
and the breads, and you say, my God, but I'm still sick, so that means that it's not the gluten. There is another thing. Gluten has 14 type of proteins, 14 different type of proteins. So if you go to a doctor and you ask for a gluten test, the doctor will give you one or two different tests that is the common test. If you show that you're not allergic to those two tests, the doctor will tell you, you got no problem with the gluten. But you can be allergic to the other 12 there is there, and you don't know. So you believe what the doctor says, and you continue to eat gluten, and you continue to have that problem, illness that you have had all this time. So it's a very, it's a very difficult.
Well, Dr. Mark Hyman, and there's another one, William Davis, they've had successes in putting people on gluten-free diets. They claim to have success.
Yeah,
So,
well,
but you got to know what and where.
Right, I discovered it by chance, because I decided to change my diet, and here it is, the macrobiotic diet, wants whole grains and mostly rice, brown rice. So I was.
So you say the rice is safe to eat, the brown rice?
Rice has only 5% gluten in it.
Okay.
It does have some.
And what about quinoa? Is that?
Quinoa, it's not really a grain.
Okay.
Quinoa is more of the family of a bean, because it's got lysine in it. So
So
don't
that's-
eat too much quinoa. It's not a good idea. So that is the quinoa that
So it's like
the way I know.
Okay.
So, buckwheat is good, but it's good during the winter because it tends to warm up the body. While, if you can have organic corn, maybe you can have that and it doesn't bother you, it's okay.
That would be in the summer.
Yeah. I have a thermostat to gluten in my body, because as soon as I eat some gluten stuff, my hands fall asleep
Or like getting numb?
at night.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It used to be when I first started that this much was getting numb.
Was
It's
numb.
like my whole arm would, especially my right arm. Because what I think it is, it affects that part of the brain that probably sent the signal for the circulation in that part of the body. That's what I think it is. Now that I realize
People
that it affects
contribute to
the
that.
brain.
People think they get arthritis in their fingers.
No.
And you're saying that it's the
No, it's gluten. Because as soon as I back off. Now, my daughter was buying these crackers that it says gluten-free. But all of a sudden, my fingertips were falling asleep like this much during the night. And I'm saying, this is not gluten-free. Because even this gluten-free products, it's another fishy kind of thing. It's a big business.
Oh yeah, they said that gluten-free stuff is, you gotta be careful.
There is really not that much gluten-free grains. If you
Kamut.
Well, kamut is an ancient wheat. It's an ancient grain that it used to have.
Excuse me. We have somebody else starting in 4 minutes.
Okay, we're
So you need to
wrapping it
wrap
up,
it
we're
up.
leaving, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
Well, it was nice to you, but just to answer that, the kamut, it's a problem because it's still wheat. It's just that it's the ancient wheat, just like spelt. Spelt is an ancient,
teff?
but it's still.
Teff, that's
Teff,
Ethiopian.
I know, teff is good, but it's good for the summertime, not the winter,
yeah.
because it's a hot weather.
Right,
kind
it's
of
from
thing.
Ethiopia, they
Yes.
make a bread.
Yeah, I like teff, but only in the summer I eat it. I like it for breakfast.
Do you need help?
I think Tony will help me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you anyway.
Yeah, well, I think it's Davis, he said we shouldn't be eating any of the grasses or.